Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. So, yes, we now continue reading chapter 11 from Bhagavad Gita. We will just summarize what we've done so far. We've done 7 verses, so it's quite easy right now. The first section, Arjuna's request and Krishna's description of the universal form. So the first verse spoke about Arjuna's illusions removed. The second verse spoke about Arjuna accepting Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Third and fourth, Arjuna expresses his desire to see the universal form. And then fifth one, Krishna begins to describe the universal form. In the sixth verse, he's saying, now we can see here all the demigods, Adityas, Ashwini Kumars, Rudras, and all that we did last Thursday. The seventh one, I think, is saying you can see whatever you want to, whatever you desire in this form, because of course this is the whole universe. So whatever you desire, you can see. So that was 7, and now the last verse of this mini chapter is verse 8. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Actually, I realized that the purport is long, so I need to share the screen with the purport also. Let me just do that. One 18. Natu mam shakyase drashtum anenaiva svachakshusha divyam dadami te chakshu pashyame yogamaishvaram. Lord Krishna says, but you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore, I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence. So now Krishna is giving Arjuna the divine eyes. So you can see, even before this verse, Krishna had explained that you can see, he says now, see the demigods, see the Rudras, see the Ashwini Kumars and all this. So you can see that now, until now, that was almost like a preview, almost like a trailer. Arjuna really, at that time, didn't have the eyes. So Krishna was just describing it as a preview. And now, in this text 8, he's giving him the vision. So now, somebody can read the purport, please.
Could I read that, Prabhu?
Yes, please, Prabhuta Mataji.
A pure devotee does not like to see Krishna in any form except his two form with 2 hands. A devotee must see his universal form by his grace, not with the mind but with spiritual eyes. To see the universal form of Krishna, Arjuna is told not to change his mind but his vision. The universal form of Krishna is not very important. That will be clear in subsequent verses. Yet, because Arjuna wanted to see it, the Lord gives him the particular vision required to see that universal form. Shall I continue, Prabhu? Devotees who are not correctly situated in a transcendental relationship with Krishna are attracted by loving features, not by a godless display of opulences. The playmates of Krishna, the friend of Krishna, and the parents of Krishna never want Krishna to show his opulences. They are so immersed in pure love that they do not even know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the loving exchange, they forget that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that the boys who played with Krishna are all highly pious souls, and after sorry, Prabhu, Supreme, sorry, Prabhuji, you did something, I missed the text.
I'm sorry, I moved the screen while you were speaking. I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
Find it now. I'll show you where it is. You're here.
A pious soul, and after many births, they are able to play with Krishna. Such boys do not know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They take him as a personal friend. Therefore, Sukadeva Goswami recited this verse. Ichitam satatam ichitam satam brahma sakurtan bhutaya dashyam gatatam para devatana mayasri tatam narakena sakam vijaharu kirta punyaha punaja. Sorry, mine is not very good. Here is the Supreme Person who is considered the impersonal Brahman by great sages, the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotee, and a product of material nature by ordinary man. Now these boys who have performed many pious activities in the past lives are playing with Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 12, 11. Canto 10, chapter 12, text 11. The fact is that the devotee is not concerned with seeing the Vishwarupa, the universal form, but Arjuna wanted to see it in sustained Krishna's statements, so that in the future people could understand that Krishna not only theoretically or philosophically presented himself as the Supreme, but actually presented himself as such to Arjuna. Arjuna must confirm this because Arjuna is the beginning of the Parampara system. Those who are actually interested in understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and who follow in the footsteps of Arjuna should understand that Krishna not only theoretically presented himself as the Supreme, but actually revealed himself as the Supreme. The Lord gave Arjuna the necessary power to see his universal form because he knew that Arjuna did not particularly want to see it, as we have already explained. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhupada Mataji. Nicely recited. So let me now share my screen again. Okay, so back to where we were. So just restart because the talk was quite long. We'll just remind ourselves about the verse. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore, I'll give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence. As I was saying, this is now Arjuna actually begins to see. So again, we take some main points from the purport. Prabhupada says right in the beginning that pure devotee does not like to see Krishna in any form except his form with two hands. So the Lord has a form like a human being. So this is the actual original form of the Lord. The Lord appears in many different forms, as we know, but his actual original form is Krishna with the two hands holding the flute. And this, the fact that Krishna has human form is also confirmed by the Christian faith, because the Bible states that the man is made in the image of God. So there's some consistency there. So that means that the Lord made God as a person with two hands, two legs, etc. That is the original form. And later on, he transforms himself for various different activities. So he has, his complexion is dark blue, like that of a rain-filled cloud. So this is complexion. When you see Krishna's pictures, when we see Krishna's pictures, you will see it painted blue, mostly dark blue, sometimes lighter blue, sometimes even black. So the thing is that the color of Krishna, the amazing thing is that Krishna's color is so difficult for artists to get right, because that color doesn't exist in the material world. It's a spiritual color. So we have to give it the closest description. So the closest description to our eyes is it's blue. It's like, and then it's like the monsoon cloud. It's been described like that, right? So people have all these descriptions, but the real color that Krishna has, it is indescribable in one sense, because it does not exist in the material world. So that's something that we need to understand. His eyes are like lotus petals. So perfect eyes, beautifully formed eyes. That is one of his features. He is ever youthful. We never see a picture of Krishna being old with a beard. In the Christian faith, you will see even in some pictures when they, first of all, they really don't have much idea, but whenever they do, they depict the Lord, either in movies or in pictures, they will show him with a big white beard, because they feel that, yes, if he's the oldest person, then he must look old. But as we know, Krishna, he is the oldest of all, yet he looks ever youthful. There is a beautiful verse in the Brahma Samhita which describes this fact about his ever youthfulness. Can anybody remember that verse? Oops. Brahma Samhita 5:33.
Is it Advaita Achyutam Anadim Rupam Iche?
That's the one. That's the one. Who was that? I can't see your name here.
Vishaline.
Oh, Vishali Mataji. That's it. Very good. Very good. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Dullabham Adullabham Atma Bhakta Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Advaitam. So in that verse he says Advaitam. He has no second. He is without a second. Advaitam. Achyutam. He doesn't fall down. He is not subject to decay. Anadim. He has no beginning. Anantarupam. He has unlimited forms. Adyam. He is the beginning of everybody. Purana Purusham. He is the oldest personality. But Nava Yovanam, he is always as fresh as budding youth. So this is his description. And he says later on in that verse, Vedeshu Dullabham Adullabham Atma Bhakta, that even through the Vedas, he is not approachable. But Adullabha, Dullabha means very hard, very difficult, but Adullabha means easy and not difficult. Adullabham Atma Bhakta, which means for somebody who is devoted to Krishna with his soul, he is available. Then he is full of bliss, and his beauty excels that of 1,000 cupids. Again, a beautiful verse from the Brahma Samhita talking about his beauty, comparing with 1,000 cupids. We sing it in the morning, I think, every day. Venum Kwanantam Aravinda Dalaya Taksham Bharavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Venum Kwanantam Aravinda Dalaya Taksham, again talking about his eyes and the Venu. He's holding the Venu and his eyes are Aravinda Dalaya Taksham. And then Barhavatam Samashitam Buddha Sundarangam. Barhavatam, he's got a peacock feather on his head. Barhavatam. Peacock feather is sitting, Asita, yeah, on his head. Asit Ambuddarangam, Sundarangam. That's extremely beautiful. Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham. This is what we're talking about here. His beauty excels 1,000 cupids. Kandarpa means cupid. Kandarpakoti, koti means thousands. Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham. Vishesha. So even he excels in that beauty. So Brahma Samhita is very, very beautiful. If you want to understand Krishna's beauty, you need to read Brahma Samhita, and some of the verses are so beautiful to recite. And the same verse actually confirms he's playing his flute. He wears a peacock feather on his crown. Then he wears the Kaustuba jewel around his neck, and he wears yellow garments. Generally, he loves pitambar. He loves yellow garments. So this is the description of Krishna that the devotees like to fall in love with. Right? Krishna has all these different incarnations. If you start from the beginning down here, you've got Matsya avatar going up. Okay, so what's the next one after Matsya?
Kurma avatar.
Kurma, and then this one?
Parshuram. Varaha.
Exactly. This one's very easy.
Narsingha.
This one?
Vaman.
Okay, very good. This one?
Parshuram.
Very good. Here?
Ram.
Ram. Exactly. Here?
Krishna Balaram.
Krishna Balaram. So basically, see what happens is the non-Vaishnavas, when they describe the avatars, they say ninth was Krishna. Because for them, Krishna is one of the avatars. But Vaishnavas believe they either ninth one is Lord Rama, Lord Balaram. Lord Balaram incarnates as a ninth avatar, because Krishna is an avatari, he is not an avatar. And whenever Krishna comes here, which is very, very rare, Krishna comes here once in the day of Brahma. And when he comes in his own form. He doesn't come as an avatar. So this is a slight difference that we have in these different philosophies. And then this one?
Buddha.
And finally?
Kalki.
You see, Krishna has all these different forms, and this is only the 10 avatars. His avatars, as you say, that his avatars are coming just like the waves of a river are flowing. So these are just identified avatars, but Krishna's avatars are continuously happening. But what this verse is saying is that the devotees, they are not interested in, the pure devotee doesn't like to see Krishna in any other form except his form with two hands. Then he says, the universal form of Krishna is not very important. Here's the statement, isn't it? Because first time when the devotees early on in USA, when Prabhupada spoke about the universal form, the devotees were fascinated by that. And they said, Prabhupada, why don't we have a deity of universal form on the altar? And does anybody know what Prabhupada said? So Prabhupada said two things. Prabhupada said the universal form is a temporary form of the Lord. It is a material form. So that's why we don't worship the universal form. And secondly, he said, imagine if you had a universal form on the altar, how would you feed his thousands of mouths? How would you dress him with thousands of hands and legs? How would you look after him? How would you bathe him? Very, very difficult to look after. Then Prabhupada says the devotees who are correctly situated in a transcendental relationship with Krishna are attracted by loving features, not by godless display of opulences. So here, Krishna is, the devotees, they are attracted to Krishna by love, not by awe and reverence. The reason why the universal form is being shown, and we'll come to that in a minute, is awe and reverence, just to see how powerful he is. But devotees are not really interested in that. They are more interested in the personal relationship with Krishna, attracted with the loving features of Krishna. So this is the difference. And then the playmates of Krishna, the friends of Krishna, and the parents of Krishna never want Krishna to show his opulences. So they love him just as he is. In Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan, Krishna is just somebody's friend, somebody's lover, somebody's son. He is somebody's nephew. He is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it says here, you can see the people, they are all playing with him. And playmates and the parents of Krishna and Vrindavan did not even know that Krishna is a Supreme Personality of Godhead because they are so immersed in pure love for Krishna. So His Holiness Bhatticharya Swami Guru Maharaj used to explain in his katha, in many kathas, that the residents of Vraja, it is said here that they did not know, but actually, even if they knew that he is a Supreme Personality of Godhead, they didn't care, because that didn't matter to them. They say to him, doesn't matter who you are, you may be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but as far as we're concerned, we love you as our friend, we love you as our son. And anyway, Yog Maya was working anyway to cover their intelligence so that they would not deal with him as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the point is, Yog Maya did not even need to work so much because they were so completely absorbed in their pure love for Krishna that there was no room for awe and reverence to creep in. In their loving exchange, they forgot that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So you see? So some can say they did not know, some can say they knew but they didn't care, and the others can say they actually forgot. They completely forgot that he is Lord, purely because the overwhelming love for the Supreme Lord. Then Prabhupada said, in Srimad Bhagavatam it is stated that boys who play with Krishna are all highly pious souls, and after many, many births, they are able to play with Krishna. So, in that verse that is quoted in the purport, there is a phrase used, Krita Punya Punja. Krita Punya Punja, meaning, how do you say it? Like the stock of your pious activities, stock of your good pious activities. So all these boys had accumulated the results of life after life of pious activities. Punja, this word we use punji sometimes in Hindi, Gujarati, your collection or whatever you have in your possession, punji. So because they had life after life, not just years, but lifetimes worth of pious activities, then they were able to be in a position to be placed where Krishna was. So when Krishna comes to the material world for his pastimes, as we read in the Krishna book, that Krishna comes and before him he sends all his associates to prepare for him. And together with him also a lot of associates come. So all these personalities that are associating directly with Krishna, they are not ordinary people. They've come from the spiritual world. But Acharyas also explain that there's two types of devotees who are able to interact directly with Krishna when he comes to perform his pastimes. One is Nityasiddhas. Nityasiddhas are these devotees who come with him. So they come temporarily to be with Krishna, play their roles according to Krishna's will, and then they'll go back again when Krishna goes back. As we know, all the yadus, all those, they all went back after Krishna's pastimes were wound up. So that's one type. The other type, interestingly, is the sadhana siddhas. So these are devotees who are in the material world, and because they have perfected their sadhana. So our path will be this. It is said that once we reach to a stage of our sadhana perfection, that means we've reached the stage of Prema Bhav, Prema Bhakti. Then, of course, we say once you reach the Prema Bhakti, then you can be transferred to Golok Vrindavan. That's what we hear, don't we? So the devotees, first of all, say, I don't mind where I go, whether it Golok Vrindavan or the hell, as long as I am with Krishna and I'm able to serve devotees and Krishna, I don't mind. But fine, the point is, we always hear that, yes, we are doing everything. We're doing all our sadhana practices, all the devotional service we are doing, so that at some point, maybe in this lifetime, if we are very, very fortunate, or after many, many lifetimes, if you're unfortunate like me, you will hopefully go back to Golok Vrindavan and play like these devotees playing with Krishna. This is our hope, isn't it? But it is said that what happens, there is actually a transition. Once we are perfect, Acharyas explain that the Lord will put us in a place, in some universe, where Krishna is enacting his pastimes. As we know, devotees, that Krishna's pastimes are happening every time. Right now, Krishna's pastimes, what we are seeing now, having a picnic under a beautiful tree in Vrindavan, that we are looking at a picture here, but that pastime is actually taking place somewhere in some universe right now. Krishna is continuously performing his Leela in different universes. So the devotee who is perfect is placed in a place where that pastime is going on, and he has that chance to then interact with Krishna, enjoy with Krishna, and then when Krishna winds up his pastime in that particular universe, he will then move on with Krishna and go either to continue with his other pastimes in other universes, or he'll go back to Golok Vrindavan. At that time, of course, it doesn't matter whether you in Golok Vrindavan, because Krishna is always there in Golok Vrindavan, or if you go with him when he's expanding himself to go for the pastimes. So this is the path that is of spiritual perfection. The cowherd boys have accumulated the results of, this is just a quote from a purport that I came across on the 10th canto, chapter 12 to 11. The cowherd boys have accumulated the results of pious activities for many, many lives. They were able to associate in this way with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can one explain the great fortune? So very, very fortunate souls get to this stage. Time is running out as usual again. So we'll quickly, so this is an important point here, and this will be the last point. A devotee is not concerned with seeing the Vishwarup, the universal form, but Arjuna wanted to see it to substantiate Krishna's statements, so that in future people could understand that Krishna not only theoretically or philosophically presented himself as the supreme, but actually presented himself as such to Arjuna. So here's the thing. Arjuna, as we know, Arjuna is a Nityasiddha. He doesn't need to see the universal form. But he wanted this to happen so that in future, any person claiming himself to be to be the Supreme Lord, he can, this is the measure, this is the yardstick. So if somebody says you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, yes, can you show me your universal form? So this is why. And people would understand how this, how the Supreme Personality, the power of the Supreme Personality got it. Just not that somebody says, I am the Supreme Lord, or he just does some mystic yoga, some magic, and everybody starts to call him God. No, if you're the Lord, then you should be able to do this. You should be able to display your universal form. So there's a pastime which we can maybe just recite quickly. I can try and remember. So when talking about these personalities who claim themselves to be God. So one time in the Sydney temple, Prabhupada was giving a lecture, and during the questions and answers, one person stood up, and in a challenging way, he says that I know that Meher Baba is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is God. What do you think about that? So Srila Prabhupada just looked at him for a second. Then he said, I don't know anything about these people, but I know about Krishna, he says. Krishna is so wonderful. Then he turns towards, it was Now the Gopinath, the deities at the Siddhi temple. He turns towards the deities and he says, Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill with his little finger. And then he held his finger like this for a little while. And he says, how wonderful is Krishna? How beautiful is Krishna? And then the men just sat down. Just soon after that, he said, we will keep Krishna. You can have Meher Baba. And then soon after that, the kirtan ended, the program ended, and then Prabhupada walked out of the room. He walked past this devotee, the bearded man who had challenged him, and he looked at him very, very compassionately, and he says, be careful, don't be cheated. You know, Krishna is very merciful, he says. That's it. And he left like that. So this is here, Meher Baba. Has anybody on this group heard of Meher Baba? So apparently he was reasonably popular. What I didn't know about him. After I heard this pastime, I went and looked it up. So he was born in around 1894. So you can see he was about a couple of years older than Srila Prabhupada. He was his contemporary. But what happened was that he until 1819 he was a normal person, but then somehow he developed some mystic yoga. He started to his followers started to call him God, and he accepted it, and this is how he started to have a gathering, and a lot of people started to call him God. So long history about him. He spent many years in Maunvarta, which means he didn't speak. He didn't speak for many years. That was one of his austerities, apparently. But then when you think about, from our point of view, if you don't speak, how can you preach? He used to apparently preach by sign language only, using a big alphabet board or something like that. But this is him. And apparently, when he left his body in 1925, his last words were, "Don't forget that I am God." So people, so like that, you have these situations. So Prabhupada says in the purport of a Bhagavatam verse 2.124, this Virat Roop of the Lord was especially manifested not for the benefit of Arjuna, but for that unintelligent class of men who accept anyone and everyone as an incarnation of the Lord, and so mislead the general mass of people. For them, the indication is that one should ask the chief incarnation to exhibit his Virat Roop and thus be established as an incarnation. So devotees, it's almost 8:40. We will stop here. Thank you very much. We will open for any comments, realizations, questions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Hema Mataji.
So I really like this, the thing Prabhupada says, they are so immersed in pure love that they do not even know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it reminds me of that really beautiful pastime when Krishna leaves the Rasa Leela and the gopis are looking and they see Vishnu and they kind of so disregard him and they're kind of so busy looking for Krishna. That's how absorbed they are in Krishna's love, isn't it? That they don't look at awe and reverence at all.
Exactly, that's exactly what I was thinking about also when I was preparing. But you're quite right. Yes, so they see Vishnu, and they're asking, "Have you seen Krishna?" They didn't bow down and they didn't start. Of course, they paid him respect. They offered him respect. They would, but they didn't actually stop and say, "Right, we are here. We found Vishnu. Why do we need Krishna?" No, they asked him, "Have you seen Krishna?" So you're right. Thank you so much for sharing that. They were completely absorbed in Krishna's love.
And in a way, Krishna gives in to, when he sees Radharani, he melts away the Vishnu form and becomes Krishna.
Yes, that's true.
So, yeah, he gets absorbed with their love for him.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So this is the good thing about our path. You know, there are many religious paths, and quite a few of them are based on fear. If you don't this, God will do this to you, right? A lot of them are most of them are based on fear. But our path, so beautifully, is based on love, not fear. We don't fear Krishna, but we love Krishna. And our whole philosophy is based on love. And this is why the most fearsome form of the Lord we see is Narsingadev. And you will see that children love that form. Somehow they fall in love with Narsingadev. Because you see, they've gone past this fear syndrome. They're thinking just about loving. And they think about how much did Lord Narsingadev love Prahlad Maharaj. And this is how our philosophy is.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you
Hare
for the
Krishna, Hare
class. Very, very nice class. I think a realization came to me about the fact that many religions have this caution, all the bona fide religions have this caution that many people will come and pretend to be gods. Like Jesus said, many people will come and try to, say, I am again Jesus, come to save you. And this caution is here in the Bhagavad Gita as well. So I think it's a very good measuring point for anyone who claims to be God to come and display his Virat Rupa form. Very practical way of eliminating any further questions, I think. Yeah.
No, that's fine. It's a very good point. Yes, exactly. This is such an important point. Nowadays, actually, we don't see it so much, but I think this Prabhupada keeps talking about this because in his time, so maybe about 20, 30 years ago, they, maybe a bit longer, there were, especially in India, there were a lot of these so-called godmen, and they were all over the place. So there were a lot of people who were misled.
Hare Krishna, Guru.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, thank you. I was just wondering about the statements that, like, the universal form is not important, and the devotees are not eager. They don't want to really see the universal form, and Prabhupada was saying in the purport that it's for the unintelligent class of people, so they can distinguish who's real and who's not. And I was wondering then, like, on what basis, when the devotees are reading the descriptions of universal form, how are they relishing that universal form description when they're reading Bhagavad Gita?
Thank you so much, Mataji. Very good question. So the point here is, Krishna, the information is there in the Shastras, and the universal form is real. It's not that it's not real. So it's existing. So the devotees would see the universal form, or they will read and hear about the universal form and understand the power of the Lord, which they already did. They already understand the amazing absolute power of the Lord. So they actually, devotees, because they already have accepted the absolute power of the Lord, they don't need evidence. That's the point, right? We accept the universal form, and we accept it also in reality, knowing that yes, it is a material form which Krishna displays. So the universal form, you can see that his arms are this, his belly is this, his head is this. So it is actually the part. So everything that we see in the universe actually is, in one sense, the body of the the body of the Lord. So, but the point is, the devotee is, like I was saying, like this particular verse says, is more interested in the personal form of the Lord rather than the universal form. So we see it in that sense, we read it, we understand it in that sense, but we don't get stuck in that place. We take it as just a piece of information that Krishna, yes, he's got unlimited power, and he has the power to display this amazing, absolutely amazing, undescribable form. But his original form is a two-armed form holding the flute.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. So it's not a question of relishing it. It's more a question of understanding how Krishna is revealing himself for a particular purpose.
That's it, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
I have a question. Hare Krishna. I have a question, Prabhu. So earlier you mentioned when Prabhupada said that the boys who play with Krishna, they have got that ability and the chance to actually spend time with Krishna like that due to all the pious activities that they've accumulated. But I was given the understanding that in order for us to reach Goloka Vrindavan, all our karmic hisab, like all our karmic balance would have to be like completely, balanced and, well, completely clear before we enter Goloka Vrindavan. So I'm kind of confused now. Like, so the boys who play with Krishna, do they carry that good karma with them, so to play with him?
So yes, that's a very nice point, Himani. And by the way, welcome to the chat group. Are you here for the first time, right?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank
Yeah,
you.
welcome to the group.
Thank
So Himani, very, very nice point actually you making. So piety, right? So when you look at pious results, there are 3 types of pious results. There are, how does it? It is so when you are accumulating pious results, there's 3 categories. One, it is called Bhoga Unmukhi. Bhoga Unmukhi, which means that kind of piety will give you more chance for sense gratification in the future. Bhoga Unmukhi. Then other one is Jnana Unmukhi. So Jnana Unmukhi pious activities will in the future will give you more ability to assimilate knowledge. But the third kind of pious activity is Bhakti Unmukhi. Bhakti Unmukhi, so that is not the pious actions as you and I, as you were mentioning. Those are in the first 2 categories. Third category is devotional service, pure devotional service, and that's Bhakti Unmukhi. So Bhakti Unmukhi, that is the piety that we're talking about here, not the other 2. Does that make sense, Imani?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So yes, so you're quite right. So at the perfection stage, we have completely removed all our Bhoga Unmukhi and Jnana Unmukhi pious activities. Those are finished. But we carry the bhakti with us, and that's what's mentioned here.
So, Prabhu, in order for us to reach that stage, what kind of pious activities should we aim to develop if we wanted to get to that stage of spending time with Krishna?
Devotional service. So akama, you see, it's kama, vikarma. So karma, vikarma, and akarma. So akarma are the activities which are they don't give you any good or bad material reactions. But the akarma, which basically means devotional service, basically means any activity that we do for the Lord without any personal motivation.
Yes, Prabhu. No, I understood that. I was wondering, like, if there are certain levels of devotional service that we should perform, that we would be eligible for that level. Are there different levels of devotional service, or is it
Yeah,
just
so the levels of devotional service, the levels are mentioned as in the 9 steps, not the 9 processes, but the 9 steps, which starts from how does that start? It finishes in prema bhakti.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I remember Nishkinjana Prabhu, he did a class on Anartha. He was saying the
Exactly.
9 states of
So
devotion.
you got prema bhakti,
Shraddha and all that.
bhava bhakti. How does it start, Hema Mataji?
I thought it was Shraddha and Sadhu Sangha. And
Okay,
Yeah.
yes, okay. So those are exactly those are the
Starts from
appropriate.
Shraddha and then finishes at, well, I mean, the ultimate stage is Prema Bhakti.
Exactly. So that's it. So Himani, that is the answer. So we have developed our bhakti from Shraddha to Sadhu Sangha to Bhajana Kriya to Anatha Nivriti. So at the Anatha Nivriti stage, this is why you're clearing up your pious and unpious deeds. And then you get into Nishtha, then Asakti, before Asakti, before Asakti is Ruchi, then Asakti, then Bhava, and then Prema. So these are the levels that we follow. But for us to, it's difficult to measure exactly where we are. Idea, frankly speaking, Prabhupada's given us the process. If we stick to the process sincerely and not deviate from that, we will make this progress automatically. Just follow in the foot on the path of the previous acharyas, and we will automatically make it. We don't need to concern too much with the levels. We just have to keep doing our sadhana bhakti with the best of our ability, without a tinge of material gain or expectation of material gain, and that will keep us going.
Thank you so much for this.
Thank you,
It's
Himani.
wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Vimala Mataji.
Prabhu, you talked about the Nitya Siddha and the Sadhana Siddha. What is the Nitya Bada? Is that the conditioned soul?
Yes, so exactly. So there are three. There's Nitya Baddha. Actually, they're normally described in two: Nitya Baddha and Nitya Siddha. So Nitya Baddha are conditioned souls. We are all in that category. We're conditioned souls.
Okay.
Nitya means eternally, actually. Word Nitya means eternally, which is quite frightening because it says eternally tied up in the material world. But the fact is that because it's been so long, we've been here for millions of lifetimes, so it feels like eternity, right? But nobody is in any time tied up eternally in reality, because every living entity has a chance to make his way out, right?
Yeah.
But it says Nitya Baddha, that means living entities who are going round in the samsara, in the material world. And Nitya Siddhas are devotees who are actually permanently living in the spiritual world. And then in between is this category we discussed today about sadhana siddha. These are people like us who are hoping to make it by performing sadhana. And there's one more category that comes to mind actually, kripa siddha. So sometimes our sadhana may not be enough. Then we need kripa. We need the mercy of a devotee or the Supreme Lord directly. So these are the different ways.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, devotees, thank you so much for your time. It's almost 5 to 9. Thank you very much. Please do look after yourself. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yay. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu. Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Hare
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you so much, Lord.
Jai Shri
Mataji, thank you, Mataji,
Thank you.
for
Hare
being
Krishna,
there.
Prabhu. Thank you
Hare
very much,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Vishal
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.